Cathay Pacific are rolling out some big upgrades to their fleet of 777s, upgrades which are going to be great for you, but unfortunately not so great for me, even though today I am flying with Cathay Pacific on a 777 from here in Brisbane. You see, I'm flying from Brisbane to Hong Kong today, but only after booking my ticket did I find out that Cathay Pacific, who are upgrading their 777 business class to their fancy new award-winning Aria suites, are bringing them to Australia sooner than expected. The Sydney to Hong Kong leg is actually going to start with the new Aria suites as early as the end of March, meaning if I'd have just waited about a week and a half, I could have enjoyed their brand new Aria Suites business class experience. Instead, I'm on one of the older business class suites with Cathay Pacific, which is still very good, don't get me wrong, but it does give me an opportunity to show you exactly what Aria Suites are like, what you get, what's different to the existing business class experience that I'm going to be on today, and why I think Cathay Pacific is actually a very good choice if you are looking to fly business class out of Australia anytime soon. So just a little pro tip, if you are coming through Brisbane Airport, I've just transferred from a domestic flight to this international flight. I had about an hour and a half layover. That is the tightest I think you can do it. I only just got here at the gate in time. You've got to get the shuttle bus between domestic and international. So just be warned, if you are transiting through Brisbane, give yourself at least an hour and a half. If you are looking to book Cathay Pacific, it's worth actually just finding out if they have got Aria Suites rolled out on the route that you're going to be flying, and whether it might actually be worth waiting, because you might not be waiting that long. They're actually upgrading. They're doing one 777 every month as part of their rollout, so it's a pretty aggressive rollout, and the likelihood is that if you are flying on a route that's served by 777 and it doesn't currently have the Aria Suites on it, you just wait a little while longer, unlike what I did, then you may actually be able to fly in the new Aria Suites sooner than you think.
Welcome on board CX150, our one-way flight to Hong Kong. This flight is operated in conjunction with British Airways, Sina Air, Japan Airlines. To our members, it's a pleasure to see you again.
I've often looked at Cathay Pacific as being quite a good alternative on a price basis to someone like, for example, just as an example, but Qantas. So Qantas flying equivalent legs between Australia and Hong Kong, similar to the one that I'm doing today, tend to be around sort of $500, $600, $700, even $1,000 more expensive. And that's made Cathay a really interesting and viable option when you are flying between Australia and Southeast Asia. But what do you get on board the new Aria Suites business class offering from Cathay Pacific? Well, I thought the easiest way to show you that, considering I'm not actually flying on the new Aria Suites business class, is to show you that if you were like me and you happen to be on the older Cathay Pacific business class, what don't you get? The first and most obvious thing is there's no door. So the Aria Suites have got a fully sliding door which actually encloses you in your own business class cocoon, whereas the existing Cathay Pacific business class has no door, so you're a little bit more exposed to the public. Saying that, it is actually a very neat design, this old Cathay Pacific business class, and when you are sitting back you can't really see any other passengers, which I do like. The second thing I don't have in this suite, which you do get in the new Aria Suites, is a 24-inch widescreen TV that sits in front of you and that you don't have to press a button to activate. Oh, I got stuck. To activate, if like a normal human being I also want to hear the things that I'm seeing on the television, I have to use the headset that they provide here on board Cathay Pacific. On the new Aria Suites, you don't need to use their one because they've got Bluetooth audio streaming, so you can connect something like your AirPods to the TV and watch it using your own headphones. No wireless charging. Aria Suites, they've got wireless charging pads for your iPhone. In terms of storage, there's a little storage pod down here by my feet, and this little storage cupboard next to you with a little mirror inside where you can keep things like a bottle of water. But they've gone big on storage on the new RES suites, with more places to store your things and a very cool little sliding tray where you can store your valuables during the flight as well. The lighting has been significantly improved in the RES suites as well. Here in the old business class, there's one little light next to your head, but the new RES suites have got this full-on new LED lighting system. In summary then, Cathay Pacific current business class, very good, don't get me wrong, but Cathay Pacific RES suites business class, look, I'm very jealous if any of you have already flown it or you're planning to very soon. Tell me what it's like. Oh, lunch. So Cathay Pacific have already got 35 of these 777-300 ERs, extended range, that I'm currently on at the moment, and a lot of those, just out of interest, were actually stored in Alice Springs during the pandemic, which I was fortunate enough from an aviation perspective to be able to get a chance to fly over the top of them when they were all being stored out there in the outback. It was a horrible sight for anyone who likes aviation, but it's really good to see them all obviously up and flying again now, and those are the 777s that are basically being refurbished at the moment. So they have 35 currently, but they're getting a lot more. There's another 22 coming from 2026 onwards, and those are obviously all going to have the new RES suites business class on board. And then there are 21 777-9s, the new variant of the 777. They're looking to get those from 2027 onwards, and those are going to have the RES suites business but also first class on board as well. So that means there is a lot more business class coming to Cathay Pacific in the future, which is a good thing, right? Because, as I said earlier on in the video, Cathay Pacific are normally a cheaper option when you compare them to other airlines. But with such a big expansion in their fleet, and with this very big and aggressive rollout of the RA business class suites across all of those new aircraft, Cathay Pacific are obviously investing a lot into their future of business class flying. And does that mean that they're no longer going to be one of the cheaper options for business class flying out of Australia in the future?
We're shortly going to be commencing our initial descent into Hong Kong, where it looks to be a reasonably nice evening down on the ground. There's a light northeasterly breeze, a little bit of cloud overhead. The temperature's still up at 19 degrees Celsius. Current estimates have us touching down at 6:36 p.m. on Tuesday the 18th of March. There's a 2-hour time zone change between Brisbane and Hong Kong. If you'd like to set your watches to local time, you'll have to wind them back 2 hours. And the time on the ground is very shortly going to be ticking over to 6 p.m. exactly.
That view is ridiculous. It's so good to be back in Hong Kong again. Now, if prices do remain low on Cathay Pacific, then with the rollout of the RES Suites business class, I don't see why you wouldn't consider flying Cathay Pacific as a really good business class option out of Australia in the future. Plus, don't forget, from some cities, if you're flying between Australia and Hong Kong, you'll have one flight a day if you're flying with Qantas. Cathay Pacific have up to 4 flights a day from some cities in Australia, so it does give you a lot more options in terms of time of day when you want to travel. Let me know in the comments if you've already flown on the RES Suites business class. Tell me what you think, or if you would like to fly it. I'd love to know your thoughts on it too. Otherwise, I'm just gonna enjoy the view, to be honest.